No, I like doing this. I like it. I like it. I like it. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? Look, I am so glad you have been rocking with us. Listen, you've been watching this podcast for a little while now, and we are so appreciative. There's been many changes, many updates, many things that's been happening with the Social Remedy TV podcast. Listen, we know this is your source of inspiration, motivation, and healing, and we absolutely cannot tolerate any gatekeeping. So, with that being said, we're going to get into this episode. It's a very special episode. I have my friend all the way from Detroit, Michigan, right? Coming to spend time with us. Little old me, right? And my people. My friend, she's a psalmist. She's a praise and worship leader of Grace, right?
Greater Grace Temple.
Greater Grace Temple. That's right. Listen, I always mess that name up. And listen, I got to get that together. But listen, this church is listen, I love this church. This church in Detroit. If you're there, you need to stop past because the word of God is going strong right in there. So check it out. My friend, my dear friend, Felina Canty. What's happening?
All right.
Yes. I'm so happy you made it here.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, all the way from the D. For sure, for sure.
You know what we say, what up, though?
What up, though? What up, though? Right? You're not from Detroit, though.
No, I'm not from Detroit.
Where are you from?
I am originally from Georgia, from a small town.
Small town.
Population of about 20,000.
Okay.
Statesboro, Georgia.
Everybody know everybody.
Yeah, pretty much. Everybody knows everybody. My high school graduate class was about 200 people. And we pretty much knew everybody that graduated with us. So class of 91.
Sweet. So we here to talk about, man. I'm glad you made it from Georgia. You're in Detroit, right? And
Yes.
you're coming to visit us.
Yes.
Look at all of that.
Absolutely.
Right. So I know the special announcement is you got a new album that you just released.
I did.
Right.
I did.
And what was the title of the album?
The Songbird's Journal.
The Songbird's Journal. Also, we journaling now.
Oh, I journal on a constant basis.
Oh, okay.
That's my therapy.
So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the journal. We're going to talk about the therapy portion of everything. I don't know. These last couple of episodes for us has been on mental health, the therapy portion of mental health. Mm-hmm. And so I know it's something dear to your heart, it's something dear to us. And we want to bring awareness to it, not only inside the church, but even outside the church. We know the world acknowledges, but we want to talk about that portion of it, right? And why is it important to maintain and check on your mental health, even if your friends are maybe going through some things, check on them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So journaling, why do we call it? Why don't we talk about the journal? Where do we start? Why did you call it the Songbird's Journal?
Well, a lot of the songs originated from things that I wrote in my journal. I try to journal maybe at least, if I skip some days, I'm going to at least do it 3 or 4 times a week.
Okay.
So a lot of the songs that are on my album originated from what I just wrote in my journal.
Yeah. So give me one of those experiences. Because I know, like I said, this is a journal. This is a journal of your everyday life. A lot of people don't want to open that up for other people to read.
Yes.
You know, there's a level of, I don't want to share this, but I think the Lord is moving you to share it. So what are one of the experiences that you turned into a song?
Well, I'll start with the song Because He Lives. I actually wrote Because He Lives a little over 20 years ago. I was still journaling then, of course.
Yeah.
So as I was going through some of the things that I wrote down in my journal was, I'm here because of God.
Right.
One of my favorite hymns is Because He Lives.
Okay.
So one day I was just particular writing about my existence of why I'm here. And, we all believe that because we're here, God has already predestinated us to be here.
Right.
And I was just pretty much writing about that. And then as I was looking at some of the words that I wrote down, it's just a song that just started coming to my head.
So I'm going to ask you a couple of the lyrics, right?
Yes.
Give me what is the first couple of, the first part of the first verse.
So the first part of the first verse is because he lives. One day when I was down, Jesus picked me up and he turned my life around.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me peace of mind. He gave me joy divine.
Okay.
And now my soul is free.
Okay, so we have that portion right there. Everybody knows, and we've all lived those type of moments,
mm-hmm.
right? So that moment, what was you feeling in that moment, or when you were writing? What mental picture did you have going on when you were writing that? Because he lives. Because one of the things is like I could tell you right now, there was a moment where I was sitting on the stoop, I was sitting on the stair in college, and I almost got shot because of mistaken identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so my pen begins to write about that scene, that whole thing, and how I felt in that moment. So can you tell me about the scene when you were writing?
So I'll proceed on to the next part of the song where it says, let's see, he gave me joy divine and now my soul is free. Then it comes into, it is because of him I stand here today.
Mm-hmm.
And that moment, I start to think about, some of the things that I went through in life. My life was, of course, has never been perfect. I don't think anybody can say that their life has ever been perfect.
Absolutely.
But some of the things that I went through, being a PK and being in a very strict home.
Wow.
And where I really couldn't do anything. And then when you get to that point, you start venturing out on your own. You know what I'm saying?
What point is that when you get to the point where you can like move out or... Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You start venturing out.
Yeah. You start venturing out and you just start, exploring certain things.
Yeah.
So me at that moment, I was thinking about when I actually first got into, I guess, somewhat of a relationship with this guy.
Yeah.
Back in college.
Uh-huh.
So, of course, that led to like a premarital sex type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, a lot of things with premarital sex, people's, of course, since I'm a PK, it's always don't do it until marriage.
Right.
But at that moment, you don't think about that kind of stuff because once you get out the house and once you kind of like on your own, you start doing your own thing. And it's like, wow.
Now, look, young ladies, I'm telling you, listen to my sister because she's dropping some jewels right now. And I'm telling you right now, what she's really about to talk about and go there on. I mean, this is going to help you. I really need you to tune in because I think when we're doing some things like that, we're opening certain doors, to our lives and giving access to things that we shouldn't give access to, that's a real testimony because I know it could take you from a place of, purity to a place of a certain thought life that you had that changes when you begin to do that.
And I remember the day when, at the time I was living with my aunt and, I got my first major job because it was in Savannah, Georgia. And, when I went out with this guy, whatever the case may be, it was one particular day where I didn't get back to the house till like 2:00 in the morning. And of course my aunt was worried. So she called my mom. And then, when I went back home to my parents' house this particular weekend, my mother looks at me and she says, yeah, your aunt tells me that you were, out really late. And
Yeah.
I said, yes, I was. And then the first question she asked is, did you have sex with this guy?
Wow.
Can you imagine trying to, look at your mother in the eye, and she wants you to be pure until marriage?
And you got a Southern mom,
Yes.
Yeah.
And to have to tell her, no, I had sex with this guy.
Yeah.
And to see that, of course, mother was hurt.
Yeah.
Because she was expecting a different answer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's crazy. How did you navigate that? Because now I know you didn't started this, right? Now this door is open. Now you're further into relationship, or you're further out than you wanted to be, what was the next step? Because I know you had to talk to your mom, because that's an embarrassing
Yeah, it was a little embarrassing. It definitely was, because, she it was,
as a PK.
Me,
as a PK.
And then on top of that, I'm one of 3 kids.
Yeah.
And I'm the middle child. And I was considered the golden child.
Oh, wow.
Because she's always said that, Felina, she's never given me any problems. She's just my best child out of all 3.
But little do they know. Behind the building, you clowning.
Definitely clowning.
Yeah.
So that was the most difficult part about it, to see her golden child somewhat take a fall.
Wow, man. Wow. So from that point, did you break up with him? Did you stop? Did you move into, because I know God had to do a turnaround.
Yeah, I broke it off with this guy. For several reasons. One of the reasons was, I pretty much needed to get to a place where I needed to focus on myself. And
go ahead and talk to the ladies. Let them know. I'm talking about the young ones, because they need to know. They need to know about this.
Yeah. With premarital sex, I mean, it can happen. But if I had to do it all over again, I would have waited till marriage. Because of the fact that, when you're in college, even in high school, you go through a lot of things mentally.
Yeah.
And one of the things you want to have least worry about is having sex with somebody, because you just never know. I mean, it's different compared to when I was growing up. Right. Now it's totally different, because now you got HIV, you got AIDS,
man,
you got sexual diseases.
Yeah, it is
and
crazy.
And because of the promiscuity of the young people that they are now, you don't know who this person has been with. Yeah. Because, as they say that, the person you sleep with, you're actually sleeping with the previous people that you slept with this person.
Wow. So that's more talking about the spiritual side and the soul side of things.
Absolutely.
So you're actually opening yourself up to other people within that relationship. Wow, man. So that's another deep conversation. That's
soul
another,
ties.
Yeah, that's another part that we definitely could get into a little bit later. But now you move from that, right? And when did you give your life to the Lord?
I would say, ever since I was a little girl.
Okay.
Yeah, ever since I was a little girl. I mean, of course, you really have no choice when you're a PK, but to give your life to the Lord. But I would say when I reached the age of accountability, would probably would be when I was about 10 years old. Okay. Yeah.
Man, that's beautiful. So that long till now, you've been serving the Lord with the mistakes that you've made. And I really wanted to make sure that that's being stated, because some people think you have to be perfect through your whole walk.
No,
it's not that. God is not asking you to be perfect. God is perfection. He's the
Yes.
one that's perfect.
Absolutely.
So he's made perfect in your weakness. His perfection is found in your weakness. So I think sometimes people bear that shoulder or try to shoulder those things of, I gotta be perfect. I can't do this. I can't do that. And they crumble under that pressure. So I honor your testimony because of that, because obviously you've been serving, but you've made mistakes.
Yes.
And you're not scared to talk about the mistakes and the transparent part of life.
Right.
There's some people that we won't go there, or, we won't try to help somebody else to give them the blueprint to make it through. So that song, that moment, you writing that makes you think about, hey, I'm still standing because of God.
And even through all of my mistakes.
Wow.
Even through all of my mistakes, I'm standing here because of him.
Man, I'm telling
Sometimes it's hard to stand on your own 2 feet. We really wasn't designed to stand on our own 2 feet. We were all been designed to rely on God.
Talk about it. Unpack that a little bit. I got, one of my teachers, he loved to say, unpack that. I get it now. Unpack that, please.
It just goes back to say that, I admit that there have been times when I thought I had it all figured out.
Yeah.
That I can do things on, and I'm an introvert. Like, when it comes to introverts, they try to do everything on their own. They don't want to ask anybody for anything. They just want to say, I got this. I'll research it if I need to. I don't need nobody. I'll just do all this by myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in my walk with God, God has shown me that you cannot do it all on your own.
Absolutely.
You cannot do it all on your own. Because God at some point had to send people into my life, even with the album.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought I had it all figured out, but I couldn't do it all on my own.
Wow.
There was no way.
Now, talking about that, you did this with an independent push, right?
Yes.
Thank God for help and people sowing into the ministry and helping you finish this, but working tell people what it's like to create an independent album and everything that goes into it, because it's a lot, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. It's quite a bit. For the most part, I pretty much did my own, put my own money into the project. I did a lot of DoorDash. I did a lot of overtime, and and some other things that brought income in. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of hard work. I've shed tears because there were times when I really felt like giving up.
Wow.
And the one thing that made me not give up was I used to do praise and worship for this strong prophetic church, New Life Ministries.
Shout out to New Life Ministries.
Yes, Pastor Felicia Easley and Daryl Easley. They're strong in the prophetic. So I did praise and worship with them for about 2 years. And they had a guest speaker to come in. And at the time, he started talking. And then all of a sudden, his conversation shifted.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, when the young lady was singing, I could tell that, her spirits were heavy, but now it's like her spirits have been uplifted. And he was like, and I'm seeing in the spirit that she has been writing music. And I was like, my ears started getting tuned in. I was like, okay. He says, yes, she's, and there's a song that you're writing right now. And I was like, when he said that, I was completely floored. And then he says to me, the particular sound you have from the music that you make is different than what people are accustomed to hearing.
Right.
Because when you open up your mouth, pretty much it brings down the angels from heaven.
Wow.
And ever since then, that prophecy that was given to me, I knew at that point that I had to do what I had to do. Finish it by all means necessary.
All means.
All means necessary.
Oh, means. Listen,
Even
y'all.
when I wanted to quit,
Yeah.
that prophecy was always brought to me.
Yeah.
So I knew that God was dealing with me on that.
So that's the part. That's that initial jump start.
Mm-hmm.
Then, then you got to think about studio time.
Yeah.
Writing sessions.
Mm-hmm.
When you get to studio time.
Thank God all my songs were already written.
Okay.
Yeah, I had written all my songs.
Good.
I keep my voice recorder so that when a song comes to mind, I just start recording it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's a beautiful thing. So as you're writing these songs, now these are already done.
Mm-hmm.
You still, like I said, you got to book studio time.
Yeah, I got to book studio time.
What about when your musicians don't show up?
Oh, well, oh my gosh. I'm so glad I didn't have that problem because the producer that I worked with
it's good
in Vegas, he pretty much had all that lined out.
Good.
He already had the musicians. He already had the studio booked. Good. So everything that paid for.
What's his name?
Much. His name is Vasjon Hill.
Listen, shout out to Vasjon Hill.
And
this has been a process.
Yes, and he is I'll let you know that he is a Grammy nominated producer in Vegas.
Awesome. Thank you for helping my sister out, man. For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I know we have a couple songs that you want to go over. What was your like I said, what was your favorite song?
Oh man, my favorite song, and it's like very dear to my heart, is Breathe on Me. Breathe on Me was written one day when I was driving back from Chicago. Uh-huh. So in the back of my mind, I was thinking about, of course, some people know about me and what some people don't know about me is I was married at one time. I'm divorced now. And during my divorce, I had went through a very, very deep, dark depression. So deep that I pretty much had stopped going to church. Family would call and I would not answer the phone.
Yeah.
I wasn't negligent towards my son, but I would just sometimes be just looking at him and just not do anything.
Wow.
While he's sitting in the middle of the floor. It got pretty that bad.
It got that deep.
And one particular day, and it went on for months. And it was just one particular day, I was just crying and crying and crying. I was sitting up in the corner. I'll never forget it. I remember it as if it happened yesterday. I was sitting in the corner and I said, God, I hadn't prayed for months. But that particular day, I was led to pray. And I said, God, I need something. I can't deal with this. I cannot be like this. Mm-hmm. Can you just breathe on me or do something to get me out of this situation? And it was like, the minute I said that, that depression was immediately gone. Just like that.
I love it.
It happened so instantly. So nobody can tell me that God is not real.
Absolutely.
And at the time when I was coming back from Chicago, I was thinking about that moment.
Yeah.
And that's when the lyrics started flowing. I wrote that song in 5 minutes.
Wow. Because it was so vivid. Mm-hmm. You were in one of their darkest places, darkest moments of your life. Mm-hmm. And when God does something and when he shows up, everything has to bow mm-hmm. to his name and his presence.
Absolutely.
So when you're his child and there's things that are bothering his children, mm-hmm. God shows up even in the midst of all of that. Mm-hmm. Everything has to bow.
Right. And he didn't even have to come see about me because like I said, I had forgotten about God. I wasn't praying. I wasn't doing my devotion time. I wasn't doing anything God related.
Yeah.
Just sitting there crying in my tears and in my sorrow because of my marriage not working out.
Listen, that's a whole nother That's a whole nother. So listen, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back. We have to actually talk about some things right here. We're going to come right back to my sister talking about this divorce and this part of the darkness that God had brought her out of. All right. See you in a minute. God bless you. Thank you for tuning in to Social Remedy TV. Thank you for tuning in to Social Remedy TV, but I have a quick announcement to make. Check it out. As many may know, I'm a graphic designer, videographer, cinematographer, right, and filmmaker. So a lot of people have been calling me and actually been DMing me about what type of equipment are you using to get the look that you have. So what I decided to do is to give my Social Remedy TV community a link to be able to fill out the form and get the consultation and the help that you need. So please do not forget to fill out the link below, right, if you're interested, and set up your consultation now. All right. Thank you for tuning in. God bless you. Have a good one. Peace. Yo, we're back. So we were talking about with my sister, the psalmist, the praise and worship leader, right? She's not perfect, but she serves a perfect God. And she's talking about her experiences through life. And we're at the midpoint where she's talking about where she went through this divorce and it pushed her into such a depression to where, you know, her relationship was not good with God. Her child she wasn't taking care of her child as far as, you know, she would just sit and watch him sometimes just because she was just so gone. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to stay right there and go ahead and move beyond that point after the story. Okay, so let's pick up from there. We good?
Yeah. So depression. Because you're a PK, you think of yourself as being, guarded from something like that.
Yeah.
Like, man, I believe in God. That would never happen to me.
Yeah.
I would never, ever get myself into that type of situation where I'm completely forgetting about God. But it did happen to me because one of the reasons why it went in that direction of depression is because I'm sitting here thinking that, I'm from Georgia.
Right.
And the guy that I married was from Detroit. So I left my family, everybody that I knew. Yeah. I didn't have any relatives in Detroit. I mean, I had friends that I knew, but I didn't have any blood relatives.
Right.
So I'm here by myself. Things start to go south and go wrong. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking like, man, why would God allow me to go from a place where I'm pretty much complacent to a place where I don't know anybody? And all of this happens. I mean, it was almost as if the very day that I got married, everything just went wrong. Infidelity. Another baby on the way while I was pregnant. So it was a whole bunch of stuff that I had to deal with. And I got into depression. It happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happened. And then it got worse and worse and worse. I didn't think it was going to get that bad, but
that's the part where even saved people or people that are Christians, where you really have to lean on God and not lean to your own understanding, because that's something you can't control as far as somebody cheating on you.
Right.
You can't control the atmosphere or things around you of what's going on other than you could control yourself. Right. And so that's when it's chaotic, that's when you have to lean on God for real, because things can get so out of whack so fast. And remember, there's things that we've all opened ourselves up to, even when we're mad at God, because God, why would you allow me to go through this? Or why would you let this happen?
Yeah.
And I'm your child. I'm supposed to be the favorite. And, we want to throw a fit. But when we get that way, we forget to focus on him and allow him to be God instead of us trying to play God.
Exactly.
And it puts us into a darker place.
Right. And that's what God showed me, because I did the same thing you did. Question God, like, okay, God, why did you have me go through all of this? Yeah. And his answer, I never forget it. His answer to me was, you had to rely on God for yourself. Because all while I was down south with my parents,
Yep.
it's pretty much you're relying on their faith and
Yep.
their testimonies.
Yep.
But when you get to a position where you have your own testimony,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's when you know God is real. And that's when you know he is provider. He's a mind regulator. He is a healer through your own testimonies.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So you put it in song.
Yes, I did.
So you put it in song.
Yes,
How is things
Breathe
going?
on Me.
How is things going right now with Breathe on Me? Is that your lead single or?
No, my actually lead single is Thank You, Lord. It's kind of like an upbeat song.
Yeah.
But I will say Breathe on Me is probably second.
Yeah.
Because as a matter of fact, one of my coworkers, she told me that Breathe on Me was her favorite. Because she experienced one of her sisters passed away.
Yeah.
And she said she had been praying and she just, she missed her sister so much that she wanted to start feeling, her presence in some form or another.
Yeah.
And she told me that when she started listening to Breathe on Me, she started feeling her sister.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep.
That is deep.
That's deep.
She brought tears to my eyes that day because she was like, man, this song right here, Breathe on Me, she's like, I have been battling because I just wanted to just feel my sister again so bad. And then she was like, when I heard this song, it was like she came up to me and just embraced me.
The funny thing, obviously, as I'm listening to you, the funny thing about all of this is that you're an introvert by nature.
Yes, I am.
Right. You're a praise and worship leader. You're all out in front of people. You got to deal with people. That's number two. That's the other opposite end of it. But God will put you in situations where it's not about you.
Exactly.
And I think even we'll walk around and be like, I am so introverted. Some people think that's a cool word. Some people are really introverts. No shade to them. But God will put you in a situation, and even in your songwriting, you might say, hey, this is therapeutic for me, right? And this is all for me. But it's not about you. It's for everybody else.
It's for everybody else.
So stop saying I'm an introvert. That's what God will do to you.
But you did right, exactly.
Right? God be like, don't say that because I need you right here.
And he definitely has done that. Even with another song that I wanted to go over.
Go ahead.
Talk about.
Yeah.
Have Your Way. That song was actually, it was like a prophetic moment when that song was birthed.
Yeah.
So I mentioned earlier about the prophetic church that I was doing praise and worship at.
Yeah.
New Life Ministries. So this particular day, the pastor was like, Felina's saying Have Your Way. And I'm like, I'm trying to remember, like, okay, what song is that? I'm not sure. Which song is that?
Right.
So at that moment, the musician was just playing a tune.
Okay.
He was just playing a tune. He was just, prophetically playing. And then all of a sudden, I started singing. And what came out was the song Have Your Way.
Yeah.
And I knew that song was like a prophetic type moment.
Yes.
Because another person approached me about Have Your Way. So they were saying that when they were listening to Have Your Way, it kind of put them in the words of the songs is pretty simple. It just says, Lord, have your way in this place. So it's just as simple as that. And then it goes on to say, Lord, take control in this place.
Okay.
So she had been going through a moment where she just needed to feel God's presence.
Yeah.
And she said she listened to Have Your Way, and she was like, when I heard Have Your Way, it was like the spirit just fell immediately right after the song started playing. And that's how it was when the song came about. Because as I was singing it, the spirit just fell at that very moment.
Wow.
When that song came out.
So every time you sing that song, that's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking to happen, right? And so as we're looking for that to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you seen those people? Not, when I know you sing it at church, and sometimes you see the healing and you see the demonstration. Mm-hmm. How does that feel to you?
It shows me. Yeah. It gives me the proof. Yeah. That I did what God told me to do.
Yeah. Yeah. It builds that. It's a faith thing. Mm-hmm. I think it builds that faith, that faith portion, when you see the demonstration. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying we're looking for signs or anything like that, but it builds your faith when you see God move. Mm-hmm. It builds your faith.
Right. And me personally, with the album, I was just skeptical because I'm like, there are so many people that sing so much better than me. Mm-hmm. But God had to remind me that people are assigned to you.
Oh, okay.
And the people that are assigned to you have to hear your voice.
Absolutely.
They can't react to somebody else's voice. They have to hear your voice.
Absolutely. Is that what you teach when you're teaching praise and worship? Do you teach that same principle to your staff or to your crew?
Well, I don't do really much any teaching, but I do when we discuss it, like in like a group discussion.
Yeah.
I have brought that up about, that's why we're all individuals. Everybody's not the same.
Right.
The people that you draw, I may not be able to draw. And vice versa. Mm-hmm. So that's why God made us individuals where when they hear people that are assigned to you, they're going to, react to your voice.
Absolutely.
People that are assigned to me, they're going to react to my voice.
Absolutely.
So God, it goes back to say, like the scripture says, God gave us gifts of callings for one another.
Right.
So.
Right. And sometimes people don't want to share that. Mm-hmm. They don't want to share that gift, or they don't want to share that calling. They say, hey, I got it. Thank you, Lord. I appreciate it. But I don't want to give it to everybody. I don't want to show, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think you're doing a disservice. I think, and to be honest with you, this is going to be harsh at what I'm about to say. I think you're wicked when you don't share your gift. Mm-hmm. I think you're wicked because you're the answer to somebody's problem.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you don't share your gift, I think that it's just like hiding a talent. You know what I mean? And he gave one 10, he gave one 2, he gave another one. The other one took the 1 and buried it.
Right. And
he said, "You wicked servant." You know what I'm saying? And that's book. That's not what I'm saying, but that's book. Yeah. And I'm paraphrasing this Bible. So I think when you don't share your gift with the world, and I appreciate you sharing your gift with the world, because I think there's answers for people's problems. And when people are walking around here looking for something to hold on to, they're looking for some sense of hope, you're able to provide that. That's what's powerful about recording as well, is that even long when you're gone, people can listen to your recording and hear those moments of hope and feel those moments of hope with the voice that God gave you. So we definitely appreciate what you're doing, and however we can support, we will. I want you to not only tell us about the album, but where can we get the album?
Well, the album is available on all digital outlets, Amazon Music, Apple Music, YouTube Music, just Spotify. Those are just the common ones, but any digital outlet is where my music is located.
What's the name of the song again? I mean, not the song, but the album again?
Is The Songbird's Journal.
The Songbird's Journal from Felina Canty, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. Look, man, I'm telling y'all got to check out my sister. She got some good praise and worship songs. These will minister to your heart. They will minister to your atmosphere. That's really what we want. We want God to be in the building. We want the presence of God to fill the atmosphere. Absolutely. Because when he comes in, what miracles happen.
Miracles, signs, and wonders.
Yes. Yes. So with this being said, with you having this album, what would you like to say? What would you like for people to get most out of this album?
I would say what I would want people to get most out of the album is just a sense of security that God is always there.
Yeah. Unpack that. You know, I need to, yeah, because I felt that. I felt that.
Because I mean, even with the titles of all four of my songs,
Yes.
you got the single that I released, Thank You, Lord.
Yes.
Then you have Your Way. And then you have Because He Lives. And then, of course, Breathe on Me.
Yeah.
All of those songs pretty much are centered around having God's presence.
Yeah.
And giving you that reassurance that God is always there. Even when you feel that He's the furthest away. You know, they say that at the moment that you feel that God is furthest away, that's when He's closest to you.
Yeah.
So I believe that that's what my music will do as far as giving people the reassurance that,
right.
Okay, even though God, I can't feel you right now, I know that you are still here with me.
That's good. That's good. I think that Him being there, a lot of times we feel like we've done so wrong or we messed up so bad, or we just don't want to fight anymore. We want to give up because He's not, we don't feel like He's present at that moment, or things are so chaotic.
Right.
It's like, I'm tired. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else you want me to do, and you're not around. So what we can do in these moments, we can actually play these songs and look for Him to fill the room. Yeah. So I think that's very important. This is where your part, where you're sharing, is helping people. It's helping all of us, and we definitely appreciate you for that. So I'm admonishing anybody that's everybody, right, that love praise and worship music, that needs some meditation music, some sulking music to actually read your Bible and things like that, right, to meditate on His word. Go get this album right now. Go pick it up. How much is the album?
It is $3.89. Because it's only 4 songs. So,
hey, hey, listen, go pick it up for $3.80. Think about this: for $3.89, you're listening to some words that are personal. Not only that, you're looking for words that are going to help you heal and grow and mature.
Yes.
Even through God, because I think through your own experiences, right, you sharing these moments of, hey, you have to have your own testimony.
Absolutely. You do.
That really will bless people on that journey. Because I remember being a PK. Being a PK is something else, right?
Yes.
The spotlights are always on you.
It's always on you.
You can't get away. You can't do things that everybody else can do and be okay.
Right. I missed my prom because I was a PK.
See, listen to that. Listen to that.
I had to go to church because it was a revival that week.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. PKs, man. I remember, I'll tell you a quick story. It's funny. It was about 50 kids. We all leaving school, right? And we're all walking down the street. We're being bad. When you got all these kids together, about 50 kids, we're all being bad, right? And out of the 50 kids, I'm running. The police comes. So, somebody called the police. It's like 50 kids walking down the street. They're just wilding and jumping and doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. And I remember I ran just because everybody else ran, right? And so I run and go hide in the bushes. These bushes were only so tall. So my friend got caught. And my friend was like, hey man, we got caught, so come on out. I was like, that's trash. Right? So I ended up in the back of the cop car. Out of all of these kids, everybody else, out of all of the kids, right? So I'm thinking he's going to take me back to my friend's house. He's going to drop us off. His mom going to speak to everybody and say, we shouldn't be doing this, all of that. I'm like, whoa. So we're pulling up in front of my friend's house. And And right before the cop is about to let us out. Now, this is what I'm thinking in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I said, man, I'm so glad my mom or my dad is not here to find out none of this. I'm about to get off scot-free. We good. Now, I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't being like throwing rocks and, breaking somebody's windows and stuff like that. But I was just with the bad crowd. And I'm thinking all of this in the moment. And as I'm getting out the cop car, guess who ride past right down the street? My mom. She rode past and made a big U-turn. She had a pink Cadillac too. She see that big pink Cadillac roll back up on the cop car, and I'm in the back seat. And she said, what is my son doing in the back? And I'm like,
oh my goodness,
God, like, what is going on? Like, we're on the other side of the town, we're on the other side of the city, and here it is. I'm in the back seat of the car. I'm like, man, I can't get away from nothing. And that's the part of being a PK that's very wild.
Right.
Yeah. God always has his hand on you. Always. Even when you sneaking and you thinking you getting away, he's always watching.
Right. Always.
Yeah. So it's not easy. It's not easy being a PK.
It's not.
It wasn't easy.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah. I think that being a PK, man, you have to be chosen. You're a special person to be a PK, man. Yeah, the lies you tell just to get out of situations, the stuff you do, man. the things you do to hide. Listen, all the PKs that act like they ain't lied and hid some stuff. Listen, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the real ones.
Right.
Yeah, the ones that then covered up some stuff. I think this conversation is very dope though, because obviously you wrote some personal things. God has brought you through this journey, and that you're still learning through right now. And what God is doing for the ministry right up in Detroit. I see y'all doing everything, man. God is doing big things through your church and your pastor. Love your pastor. I think he's dope.
Yes, he
is. I
love
the outreach ministry that he has and how he reaches out to the city of Detroit. And he does things, for the people. Yes. And it's about the people. He loves building people. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Bishop, I'm telling you, I definitely appreciate what you do. Yeah, for sure. Look, she over here, just smiling like, yeah, that's my bishop.
I am. That's my bishop, my pastor.
Bishop Charles Ellis, y'all. Shout out to Bishop Charles Ellis, man. For sure. So listen, I know this has been a great conversation. If you want to do you have some words for the young women? If you want to talk to somebody, could you please go ahead and talk to them real quick before we close out?
What I would like to say to the young, like any particular age or
it doesn't even matter. Just to encourage them. We always encourage people.
So I would like to say it's simple. Keep God first in everything that you do. I know that there are going to be times when it's going to be difficult with being at that younger age. You have to go through so many different things like peer pressure. Nowadays, you have to decide whether or not you're going to do marijuana because it's easier to get to marijuana nowadays than back then when I was growing up.
Right. You had to work for it.
Right. Basically, you may be feeling that you have to be in a relationship with someone at this age.
Talk about it.
I would say take your time. Yeah. You don't have to rush into everything so quickly. As long as you concentrate on yourself. I mean, my mom, I thank God for my mom, because I think one of the things that I really listened to her about was to get your education.
Yeah.
Get your education, graduate from not only high school, but college also. You pretty much need a college degree nowadays to find a good job. But basically, just keep God first, continue to focus on your goals. And, relationships, they can wait. You don't have to jump into a relationship so quickly. If you do, just take your time. You don't have to rush into a lot of things that may lead you to that. So that would be my best advice to the younger women.
Camera on me, Crystal. Listen, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We definitely appreciate it. Thank you for rocking with us. So I'm going to tell you just like this, the last but not least, be patient with yourself. You cannot get ahead of the curve. Don't do all of those things. Just be a little bit patient with yourself, because we can be hard on ourselves and we can pull ourselves out of the will of God because we're beating ourselves up, right? So be patient with ourselves. Let God do his perfect work in us. And so check us out again next week on Social Remedy TV. All right, peace. We out.